Hello and welcome to Doubles and Trebles. The World Championship of Darts is well and truly underway. We are now on day 6 and there is 4 fixtures this evening, just an evening session on day 6, no afternoon on Tuesday the 20th of December. Pieman did a couple of previews last week on his own, and it's a good job he was on his own because he put up 3 winners, 3 nils. Alan Suter, Boris Kirchmer, Aidy Lewis, all to win 3-0. I think it was last Thursday or Friday, Pieman, 14-1. They all come in. You're a hero. And we've got viewers back for more today. And you're going to have a bet for all 4 games, are you, tonight?
Good, yeah. No pressure. Well, that's the plan. I mean, certainly it's an interesting session. There's been a couple of sessions in the last few days where I've thought about putting a preview video up, but I've just not felt strong enough inclined. Obviously, anyone who watched our big betting preview will have hopefully picked up singles on Louis Williams, David Cameron yesterday, Danny Baggish the day before that. But generally, the sessions haven't taken my eye too much. But I think even though we've only got 4 games today, it's a really interesting 4 games. So hopefully we can find some value.
It's not often that we get the opportunity to blow trumpets, Pieman, but we are. I've already mentioned your winning Trixie. I put up a Trixie on the big preview as well. 3 fellas that were big outsiders on the +2.5 handicaps: Perez, Justicia, Nibrida. They all nicked a set or 2 in some cases. Great. You've had the 3 singles: Baggish, Cameron, Williams. You mentioned the latter 2. Plenty of outsiders going in round 1. Do you see any outsiders going in tonight from these 4 games, or shall we just start with Jim Williams against Sebastian Bialecki?
Oh, well, we could start at the top, but I think I could probably answer both questions, actually. I'm going to back Sebastian Bialecki to win this game at just shy of 2-1. I don't take on Jim Williams lightly. Pro Tour winner, of course, in his maiden year, and he certainly boasts the greater experience. However, I think he is opposable. We've seen this trend throughout the first round. I know it's something that you've touched on, you want to touch on, but the standard just generally seems to be a bit down to me. We're seeing precious few averages in the 90s, 80s, something seems to be part of the course. Bialecki is a player that I think could give Williams a really tough game. And I thought about getting with him on the handicaps and stuff, but to be honest, I'm happy to just chance him. I think the price, just shy of 2-1, I thought he'd be a little bit shorter than that. I thought it'd be about 6-4. Might not be on everyone's radar. Sebastian Bialecki, of course, a bit of experience on the development and challenge tours, but also has represented Poland at the World Cup. However, his most impressive exploits have been at the UK Open, where on debut last year he hit a 9-darter and had a run to round 4 as a qualifier. And then this year he went all the way to the quarterfinals, where he should have actually been in the semi-finals. He missed a match dart to make the semi-finals. This guy is a serious player, and at 19 he's a young talent. But we have seen the likes of Danny van Tripe, for example, last night in recent days, show that just because they're a young talent on the challenge and development tour doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to replicate it on the big stage. And I think Bialecki is someone who should enjoy the big stage. He's a good player, he's quite a flamboyant scorer. Not necessarily mouth almighty, but I saw him at the darts last night, taking in the atmosphere. He seemed to look pretty relaxed there, and I think he could give Jim Williams a real game here. So I'm not going to complicate it. I'm not saying that he's a sure thing, but I think at just shy of 2-1, Sebastian Bialecki will give you a run for your money.
Yeah. 7-4, the general price there. Pieman was a bit bigger early doors. Second up on stage is Jamie Hughes against Jimi Hendrix. Jimi Hendrix fits the bill again, like you mentioned, with Danny van Tripe and Sebastian Bialecki. Just a young player that fits the bill that could be anything. Hasn't been seen on the PDC tour all that much, really, Hendrix this year. An interesting contender and the biggest outsider of the whole evening.
Yeah, he is, and I think he's had a Pro Tour card this year, but not really pulled up any trees on the tour. A lot of first round, second round exits in the Players Championship event. He's a capable player. He's got here, hasn't he? He's qualified, and he's qualified here previously as well. So he's no mug. I just do have my reservations over whether Hendrix could actually make a game of this one. I'm not surprised to see a bit more disparity between the price here. I think he's slightly more exposed than a Bialecki or a Van Tripe. So I would be leaning towards Jamie Hughes. I must say this is the game of the night where I don't have a particularly strong opinion. I could see some people playing the Jamie Hughes 3-0. I'm not sure I would go that far. If I was looking for a bet, it'd maybe be ACCA territory and it'd be minus 1.5 on the sets. But even then, you're still playing at odds on. And it's probably the one of the night that I will just leave out, to be honest.
That's absolutely fine, Pieman. And no bet is the one of the strongest weapons in a punter's armory. The match that might get the most attention of the evening, Pieman, is Ricky Evans against Fallon Sherrock. Ricky is in the range of 2 to 7 to be winning this game. He has been shortening up all morning, actually, to be honest. He's now into 1 to 4. And as you can see, Fallon is the opposite price of that at 3 to 1 or bigger. When might not be the time to be touching on the controversy of Fallon's participation this year. That's been well covered by everyone, including on this channel. But yeah, as the game, as a standalone game, what do you reckon?
Interesting game. And the reason, I talk about Jamie Hughes and Jimi Hendrix game not catching my eye. Very similar pricing here, but I'm a lot more interested in Sherrock as an underdog than I am Jimi Hendrix. Not to win necessarily, but certainly to make a game of it. And the more the money comes for Evans, the more I'm thinking to play in the correct score market. And where I am going to play it is 3-1 to Ricky Evans, because I don't have enough confidence in Fallon to actually get over the line here. It must be said, her form in 2022 has not been anything to write home about. She had a really tough time in the World Series. Of course, well documented that she lost her top 2 spot in the Women's Series with the emergence of Bo Greaves. So confidence not particularly high for Fallon. However, her experience on this stage cannot be underestimated. I mean, last year she lost to Steve Beaton, but it was a really good game. And you'll remember it, Steve Beaton had to really lift this level to get past Fallon there. She did play well. Whatever we think about the way she's qualified, whatever we think about her general standard across the year, winning a tour card, etc., you can't deny that she's proven herself to be very capable on this stage. Ricky Evans, on the other hand, he's had a much improved year, made a Pro Tour final out of nowhere, of course. However, I still don't have faith in him to just do a demolition job on Fallon. The crowd dynamics are going to be very interesting, because I don't think Ricky Evans is the kind of player that people are going to be booing on his throwing stuff. He'll make a joke of it. He'll do what Willie O'Connor did against Bo Greaves. He'll neutralise that crowd straight away by, getting on side, laughing it off. And I think Evans, he'd probably find a way to win it. But the 3-1, which I think is about 5 to 2, maybe just a little bit shorter, is probably the most interested bet. And you could have a little saver on 3-2 Evans as well, which is much bigger. That's up at sort of just above 4 to 1 best price. And I think with that, you're only needing Fallon Sherrock to have one of those little bursts that we see so often from her on the Ali Pali stage, but, probably not get over the line. And that's how I see it going.
It's a no bet from me, as many of the first round games are, to be fair. You know that I don't bet much on game by game. But I think the opposite about Ricky Evans and how he reacts to this game, to Fallon and the crowd. He is one of the biggest happy-go-lucky characters on the tour, laughing things off, playing around. And there is an impact when players play against women. They are reluctant to be their normal, the ones that do celebrate their big celebratory selves, and try and play it down. And I just think that there's potential here for Ricky Evans to act that far away from his usual natural character. He doesn't put it on. He's gonna be consciously acting so different to his usual self that I think could impact his game. And he isn't that reliable anyway, Ricky. Like, he can have meltdown. Like, he can chase doubles around the board better than almost anyone on tour. So there's absolutely no way I'd be backing Ricky Evans at 1 to 4, 2 to 7. But people have been doing that this morning. His price is blue. So yeah.
Well, we're getting the same. They get the thing we get with the first round more and more now, as darts becomes more sort of data centric, is that your people who aren't betting on darts through the year, because there's such a wealth of information out there now via Dart Connect and stuff, they're compiling spreadsheets and they're crunching the numbers, and the numbers will tell you that Ricky Evans beats Fallon Sherrock more often than the early prices reflected. However, we're talking about it from a darts viewer and a darts connoisseur's perspective. And we know fine well the personality dynamics going into this game are far, far different to what the market suggests. So I think we're both agreed that, you've got to be taking on Evans in some way or form in this market, just at the current prices. I'm playing it a little bit safer. I'm playing him to still get over the line, but, for Fallon to nick a set. So I'm going to go for the 3-1.
Yeah, that's fair enough, Pieman. That's fair enough. On to the final game of the night, and we've got Barney second round action against Ryan Meikle. Meikle already beat Lisa Ashton in round 1, if my memory serves me right. But yeah, this is the game where the winner plays going Price, and we know what's happened between Price and Barneveld recently, and all the money has been for Ryan Meikle, as you can see, plenty of blue on the screen there. We're currently best price 1 to 2-ish, Barney, and 7 to 4 Meikle. What's your thoughts?
My thoughts are that was very impressive the way Ryan Meikle conducted himself against Lisa Ashton. We've made a lot of comments over the years about Lisa not hitting the standards at the World Championships. Well, this year, her 84 average has actually been fairly respectable compared to the field. That says more about the field than it does about Lisa, perhaps. But yeah, 3-2 Meikle. He had to average 92 to get that job done. And that is one of the best averages we've seen, believe it or not, so far. So he looked in very good order there. I think there's also a danger that there's been a lot of talk about Van Barneveld and Price meeting again in round 3. I've even seen Barney talking about playing Gerwyn Price. Is there a danger he's overlooking this match? You know, I mean, you never get a player come out and explicitly say, oh, yeah, you know, I'll win that and I'm looking ahead to nobody is going to fall into that trap. But Barneveld does have a tendency to sometimes get carried away, as you would when you've achieved what he's achieved in the game, I suppose. I see this going really deep. I think this is going to be a tough old test for Van Barneveld. I'm not surprised that the money's come for Meikle. I probably wouldn't play him at the price he is now, but I could see the case for him when he was up at over 9 to 4, you know, on opening show and stuff. I think it's getting to about the right price. I'm just going to play this to go all the way here. Over 4.5 sets. Should hopefully show up on that total sets there. Yeah, 15 to 8 best price. That'll do me. I think it's going to be a really close game, this. And yeah, I mean, the people will be hoping that Barney comes out on the right side of it. But Ryan Meikle's doubling looked really, really solid. Apart from he had one wobbly set where he kind of went to pot, but he recovered and got over the line. And yeah, I think he'll push Barney really close.
Hi man, Meikle's one of the slower players on that you'll see on the stage this week or this month. Do you think that the occasion of playing Barney is last up? The crowd's going to be pretty raucous at that time of night, 10 o'clock at Ali Pali. Do you think that might, and in his respect or is in awe of Barney some way, do you reckon that might subconsciously speed him up and be to his detriment? Or do you think he's level-headed enough and he's selfish enough to play his own game?
I think it is a danger that he could be impacted by the occasion. I mean, he has, what I would say in his favour, he's had some big contests on big stages before in other tournaments. He has played the likes of Gerwyn Price, MVG at majors, so he won't be totally overawed by the occasion. And I just think it'll take a hell of a lot of confidence from that performance against Lisa Ashton, because the crowd were obviously against him on that occasion. But by the end of it, he was getting a warm reception off the crowd, because I think there was a recognition that he'd really lifted his game to get over the line. And he should take great confidence from that, Meikle. And it's a little bit of a free hit for him, isn't it? No one's really expecting him to go and beat Barney. There's already been talk about this Barney Price game. So what has he got to lose by going out there and giving it his best shot? I expect him to turn up. I expect both players to average in the low 90s. And I think it'll be nip and tuck.
Great, right. Well, that's the evening session of day 6 there wrapped up. 3 bets from Pieman. They'll be in the description, but it's Sebastian Bialecki to beat Jim Williams 7 to 4. Ricky Evans to beat Fallon Sherrock 3-1. That's 12 to 5. And Barney versus Meikle over 4.5 sets at 15 to 8. As we said at the top of the show, there's been plenty of winners so far. That may not continue, but hopefully it does. And thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for watching.